Hello everybody, I'm Maxi. Welcome to a new video. Today's episode is a request from the comment section. Let's talk about numbers. Do you know that there are 5 formats in Chinese to write numbers? So first, of course, we use the internationally recognized 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We call this kind of digits 阿拉伯数字, Arabic numerals, just like in English, though I remember it's originally from India. Anyway, this is the most common kind of numbers you would see in any Chinese texts nowadays. This is what we use to do math, this is what appears on most calendars, and this is what's written on the price tags. And then, of course, we have the Chinese character version. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These would appear in the names of things or people, or in the messages I type when I don't want to move my hand to the area of Arabic numerals. And as many of you may have already noticed, this is what I write in my comprehensible input videos, because I'm teaching Chinese here, so I always write the characters instead of just the Arabic numerals. And then we also have a sort of different sign language for the numerals. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if we count this version, we actually have 6 formats to express numbers. But do you know that? Besides this, we also have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, there is a set of totally different characters for the same numerals, except for 0. 0 is the same. This is what we call 大写数字. In English, you can say uppercase numbers. And the formal version, the usual character version, is what we call 小写数字, lowercase numbers. By the way, this 大写 and 小写 is also what we call the uppercase and the lowercase English letters. So, where do we use the uppercase numbers? This set is used in a lot of things related to accounting and finance or legal stuff here. For example, if you go to the banks to transfer or deposit money instead of just using the apps like Alipay, usually you need to write a lot of things on some paper formats or documents, and the tellers would write a lot of things there too. And for the sum of the money transferred or deposited, they would write both the Arabic numerals and this set of numbers. And I remember I also see this on invoice. From what I know, they use this as a kind of security measure, because this set of numbers are much harder to be misrecognized or rewrite into the shape of another number than the Arabic numerals or the lowercase numbers. So you will see them in accounting, and that's why we also call them 会计数字, accounting numbers. But if you find this really hard to remember or recognize, don't worry. No matter if it's the lowercase or the uppercase characters, we don't use them to do math because it's too inconvenient. And okay, how many formats have we covered? Arabic numerals, lowercase, uppercase, 3, and plus the sign language, 4. So there are still 2 until we cover all the 6. And the 5th and 6th format are actually a pair. They are 甲乙丙丁戊己庚辛壬癸 and 子丑寅卯辰巳午未申酉戌亥. So what are these? Fortunately, these 2 sets don't go beyond this. They don't go like the other sets that go into 100, 1000 and above. This pair is what we call 天干地支. And from what I see here, English now calls them the heavenly stems and the earthly branches. That's exactly what these 4 characters here mean, but it sounds weird to me when I see this in English. These are 2 sets of numbers that we inherited from the ancient mathematics here. They were used in the ancient algebras, geometry, and astronomy here. Though now we don't use these 2 sets to do the everyday calculation here, but they still appear here and there. The most common place you would now encounter them is the calendars here, or when you hear people talking about time in the period piece C dramas here. For example, if you buy a calendar or use a calendar app that shows both the international calendar and the traditional Chinese calendar, you would see that the years are written as both things like 2026, 1990, or 丙午年, 癸亥年. And they have these names because in the traditional Chinese calendar system, every 60 years is seen as a cycle. Remember, there are 10 tiangan and 12 dizhi. You use the tiangan to pair the dizhi. And I guess many of you are already asking, 10 and 12? Shouldn't the final result be 120? Yes, that's what I asked when I originally knew about this system. 10 and 12, if you pair them one by one, and the final result should be 10 multiplied by 12, and it's 120, right? But no, that's not how they are paired. So it works like this. You use the first tiangan to pair with the first dizhi, and then you use the second to pair with the second. And because tiangan only has 10, but dizhi has 12, right? So there are 2 dizhi at the end left. Then you use the first tiangan to pair with that first dizhi, and then the second with that second, and then here. And then if you keep going by this rule, the final result is 60. I'm so glad we don't use this system to do calculation anymore. But anyway, we have this legacy and it's still used in the traditional calendar system. So for example, this year, 2026, if you look at a traditional Chinese calendar, it's also called 丙午年. That means it's the 43rd year of the current cycle. I didn't calculate that myself, I asked Perplexity. Okay, then, besides the years, there is another place about time that you would see them. Remember, there are 12 dizhi, right? And what about time that is also related to 12? The hours. We have 24 hours a day, right? And that's 2 times of 12. You see, before adopting to the international clock system, we divided a day into 12 sections. And each section is called a 时辰 or 时辰. In colloquial language, we usually say 时辰. So, a 时辰 is 2 hours. And what is hour called in Chinese? 小时. 小 means what? 小 means small, right? So now you see where this name comes from. It's a smaller unit than the 时辰. That's why it's a 小时. Nowadays, when we talk about time during a day, we only use the international clock system. But again, if you watch some period piece C dramas, you would still hear people saying the old system. And in that system, a day is divided into 12 sections, right? And when you have 12 sections, you have 12 points, right? And each of these 12 points is named with a dizhi. So 0 o'clock in the midnight is called 子时, and the noon, 12 o'clock, is called 午时. And then the others are in between, one by one. And by the way, speaking of this, let's go one step further about how we describe time in the old system. In the old system, we then divide one 时辰 into 8 sections. And in English, we also divide 1 hour into 4 sections, right? And each section is a quarter. So coincidentally, we have a same unit as the quarter, and that's called 克. Actually, there is a little difference. 克 is actually the name of the point. 克, this character means carve. So do you see where this name comes from? In many old time tracking devices, you need to carve lines at the edge of the device, right? So that's why we have 克. At least that's the version I know. If there are any professional archaeologists who know this differently, please tell me. And by the way, if you want to know how all these names and durations are used in a naturally spoken Chinese sentence, at the time of this episode going public, I would have also published a new comprehensible input video specifically for this. And I think if you have already joined my membership, you would also receive a notification for that. But anyway, I will put the link to that video down below in the description, and I think also the first comment. So if anyone wants to learn this, go check that link. And back to the topic. So 地支, the earthly branches, are still preserved in many things related to time. And then the 天干, the heavenly stems, are also still used, but in different things. The most common place you would see them is in tier names. I mean tier, like tier 0, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. In many competitions or qualifications, we usually name the tiers as 甲等, 乙等, 丙等, 丁等. And then within each rank, the rankings there are using the normal numbers. For example, we have this examination to evaluate our Mandarin proficiency. It's not the same as the HSK for foreigners. This one is for the native speakers here. I think this one is called 普通话水平考试. And the highest rank you get in this examination is called 甲等一级. That means tier 1, rank 1. So this is the most common place you would now see 天干 in the tier names. Okay, that is today's video. I hope it's helpful. And I'm very curious if your country or culture also has something about numbers or times that you think foreigners usually don't understand. Please comment down below. And again, thank you for watching this far. If you like this video, if you like what I do, please like, subscribe, share, comment, hype. And if you want to support this channel financially, you can join my membership. There are extra content and learning materials in it. So that's the video for today. Hope to see you in another video. Bye bye.